Come on, you good time people, while I have money to spend.
There should be a special hall of fame for the people who influence the people who influence us. When it comes to Southern mountain music, the first enrollee might be Doc Boggs. From the Seeger family to Bob Dylan, the Stanley brothers to the New Lost City Ramblers, Boggs shaped so many of the people who shaped modern folk music. More than anyone except Pete Seeger, Boggs opened our minds to the possibilities of the banjo. He played it in ways it had never been heard, to accompany dark-eyed murder ballads and howling blues, devout hymns and kitty ditties. In his hands, the banjo was not a timekeeper, but a storyteller, adding emotional underscoring, searing melodic lines, and a gripping metric tension.
Last time I seen my little woman, good people, she had a wine glass in her hand. She's a drinking down her troubles with a low down sorry man.
He surely lived the life in his songs, from deadly picket lines to deadlier mine work. He was a midnight moonshiner, a hard and sinful drinker who had to flee Virginia after pointing a gun at the sheriff, warning, "Don't pull that pistol, Sheriff, unless you want to." All his life, Boggs worried that his soul was damned because he played that devil's instrument. In 1964, he told Sing Out magazine, "Some of the church people think I am committing sin because I play folk music. I feel I am doing something worthwhile for my country."
When I left my father's house, I was well supplied. I made a mistake and I did wrong, and I'm dissatisfied.
He was born Moran Lee Boggs in 1898, named for the town doctor in Norton, Virginia. Inevitably, folks started calling him Doc. He went down the mines when he was 12, and except for a few brief periods as musician, remained there over 40 years. But he recalled his childhood from banjo player to banjo player. The brother-in-law, Lee Hunsucker, who taught him the frailing style, and the itinerant photographer Homer Crawford, who taught him tunings. But Boggs never knew the name of the black banjo player who inspired him the most. Peeking his head into a dance, he heard the man pick out solo notes to Turkey in the Straw. Some scholars call Doc's style up-picking because the notes are played on the finger's upstroke. He simply called it playing it straight, sometimes adding, "You don't fool with it." And yet Boggs did fool with it, and therein lay his genius. On ballads and blues, the banjo and voice were never in lockstep, one lagging behind the other at key moments, speeding and slowing with the emotional pace of the song. It is a deliberate, rhythmic dissonance, echoing the lyric's danger, sexual craving, or redemptive prayer.
I don't know where I picked this song up at. I'd love to give anybody credit for the song. But I've known it for years. I've been playing the banjo for about 55 years. And some of the songs I learned before I learned how to play a banjo. And this is a love song. I hope I live a few more days.
In 1927, he signed a contract with Brunswick Records, recorded 8 songs, then walked away because of what he called a little domestic trouble. His wife had convinced him to give up music and the sinful things it led to. The most important moment of his career came from those recordings, but he wouldn't know it for over 30 years. And when he did, it would change his life.
I worked 41 years. I'm a retired coal miner, United Mine Worker. And so Mike Seeger happened to locate me and got me started back into making music. And my fingers are just about as stupid as they ever was. I never lost a finger. And so I've been playing. There's some people like to hear the way I play, and there's some doesn't so much. We can't expect everybody like it, but I'm going to play you a little bit of Pretty Polly, the way I put it on record years ago. I used to be a rambler. I stayed around in town. I used to be a rambler. I stayed around in town. I court Pretty Polly, and such beauty never been found. Pretty Polly, oh yonder she stands.
In 1932, the painter Thomas Hart Benton played Doc's version of Pretty Polly for a party of leftist intellectuals, including avant-garde composers Charles and Ruth Crawford Seeger. Heavily influenced by that, they soon devoted their lives to folk music. While hiding out in Kentucky after his run-in with the sheriff, Doc signed a brief record deal with Lonesome Ace. But his wife won the argument again, and Doc worked in the mines until he was laid off in 1954. Those were the worst years. He was too old for work, too young for Social Security. In June 1963, he got a phone call from a young man who said he'd known Doc's music all his life. It was the Seeger's son, Mike, now an influential folk star. He asked if he and his wife could drop by. 2 weeks later, a thoroughly startled Doc Boggs was performing for thousands at the American Folk Festival, and the following month at the Newport Folk Festival. He recorded several albums for Folkways and remained a popular headliner for the rest of his life. Doc loved his new young fans. He would say, "I'm so pleased to get a chance to put on all the old songs I've got so that when I'm gone, why, the young people can have them in memory of me." Boggs died on his birthday in 1971. Mike Seeger wrote in Sing Out, he had survived through broad-mindedness and strength, childhood in the early 1900s, personal troubles, all the hazards of mining, moonshining, and the rough-and-tumble gun-carrying days, and had enough energy and passion for life, not only to tell us about it, but to want to continue. I will miss him, as do we all, but thankfully he did get that chance to put on all his old songs, and we still keep them in memory of Doc Boggs.